Hello! Right, today is the day where I'm gonna attempt to get the rest of the brewery put together. It's like 6:30 in the evening, so a couple of hours. I reckon I'll have the brewery put together, and I am going to do a hot water run through the whole system so that I can make sure that everything's working correctly, everything's nice and watertight, ready for a brew day at the weekend. Oh yeah! Okay, so this place is looking a bit of a mess. So we've got all my brewing equipment laying around. There's shit still all around here. There's all sorts of rubbish. Now, the intention is I've got two malt Miller 50 litre brew kettles. The intention is that I'm going to wire them up, so wire up the elements. So you can see here I've got 2.75 kilowatt elements, which I've already wired up and is ready to go. I've got another one which I'm in the process of putting together right here. It's rubbish. And I have basically put everything together. So I've got the mash tun put together. So we've got all of the tri-clamp fittings. Everything on that is pretty much watertight. I've got a fitting here which is going to be for the recirculation. I've got this other 50 litre brew kettle. That is ready to go. Once I've got the element done, I will have that ready to go. I've got my two pumps, which are down here on the floor at the moment. You can see they're nice new counterflow water chiller, and I've also got a Herms coil ready to fit, which I'm going to do another day. I won't do it for my first brew. So yeah, two pumps, which I'm going to probably fit on a piece of wood that's going to sit on the bottom shelf here. Now, these fucking stainless steel countertops, absolutely brilliant. Been a nightmare to get all of the film off. So as you can see, there's one layer of film that I've left. I'm going to say it's for like the looks. So it's got a nice white stripe going along it. It's actually because I'm lazy and I can't be asked to actually peel that last bit of strip off. I might do it one day when I'm bored during a brew day or something, but right now I just want to get on and get everything working. So a couple of words of advice with these things. They've been a bit of a nightmare to put together, getting those legs absolutely perfectly straight, especially on this wonky paved floor, has been a bit of a mission. But I've got there in the end. Everything's been measured up with a spirit level. This particular bench here, I had to take apart and put back together again because I realised that the floor, so I've left a bit of a gap behind the wall here. This floor here is literally just that mortar that's been laid to fill in the gap at the end of the paving before it meets the actual wall of the brew shed itself. It's not very strong. I've realised that I do not really want the back legs of this bench on it, especially when I've got two full boil kettles. I don't think it's going to be able to handle the weight, so I've had to move it away from the wall a little bit, which I'm okay with. I'm fine. Lose a little bit of space, doesn't really matter. Anyway, yeah, everything's pretty much it's getting there. So I'm just going to continue fitting this element. I'm going to wash out the brew kettles. I'm going to fill up one with water. I'm going to get it boiling just to make sure that the elements are working okay. And then I'm going to get a flush run through the system so that I can test that everything's working correctly and that the pumps are all set up correctly. So I'll have it going through the brew kettle, through the HLT, through the brew kettle, and then into the mash tun to make sure everything's working. Bosh! Okay, so I'm wiring up these elements, 2.75 kilowatt element. I'm no electrician, but they're pretty basic. It's basically got an earth, a live and a neutral connection that produce electricity through the elements themselves. So the instructions that actually come on the website, I'll take the nut off. The instructions that actually are on the Malt Miller website are kind of wrong. The instructions have the earth on one side, the A and B going down, so positive and live and neutral, whereas actually in real life they're like that. So it's pretty simple to work out though. I don't think it really matters what side you put the live on what side you put the neutral on. I've got one in the other boil kettle at the moment. I've turned it on. Seems to be running okay. I'll have a little look in a minute and see if it's actually heating the water up. But it seems to be running okay. So this one here, I've got the live being positioned in place. So the brown wire. And then I'm going to take the neutral. Need a little spanner for this. I should really use a little spanner rather than a monkey wrench or adjustable spanner, whatever you want to call it. Okay, this is the neutral going in place. And then let's just undo earth so it's actually able to position the wiring a little bit better so that it fits into the housing nicely. And then we've got this housing which is going to go over the top. Come on, don't want to cross thread it. Come on, in you go. There we go. So nice, it's simple, does the job. Yep. So next I've got to put a plug onto the end here. Whoop. And then we're good to start testing the other one. So let's have a look at the boil kettle and see if that's actually the other elements working. So as you can see, we've got this one plugged in. Loving tri-clamp fittings, by the way. Loving. I've been a cam lock person all through my brewing life, which I've actually still using on these fittings as well. So that's this is the mash tun. It's got a tri-clamp with a cam lock. Anyway, if we look into the boil kettle, we can see that the element is actually producing heat. So you can see the bubbles, the water is starting to react to the actual element. Compared to, I had like a crappy, like square 2.2 kilowatt element in my old brew kettle. It was noisy as hell. This one is really quiet, so silent. It's really nice. No noise. I didn't even know whether it was working or not because it just made so little noise. Anyway, let's let this water come up to temperature. I'm going to fit the other element into that boil kettle now, and then we will heat all this up and get it running through the system. Okay, so we've got the boil kettle's been working nicely. I've now hitched this pump here up to the boil kettle, going into a pump, going into the mash tun. So let's give it a go. I've opened the valve so the water's coming out. I see that the valve on the pump is turned on. I'm now going to... The electrics for this are all a bit dodgy, so I really need to sort out a better electric solution for all this. Anyway, let's turn the pump on. Wrong pump, that was that one. Oops. So I think I need to prime the pump a little bit. Okay, we've got water going through the system. I'm not quite getting to. Come on. Come on, you can do it. All right, let's prime this pump so that we've got some 2 secs. Whew. Okay, so pump primed. Just basically squirt a little bit of water at a lower level into this bucket. So we now have this going into the mash tun. You can see there's a little bit of water in there. So let's just open the valve on the pump. Water flowing into the mash tun. Oh yes. Things are looking good. Nice hot water. So let's turn that off. I don't really need to do the whole thing. A few problems I've had with this whole stuff so far. One is the 2.75 kilowatt element puts a lot of pressure on the electricity. So this seems to, what's happened so far is I've had a 13 amp fuse in the left hand side, which is the one that's controlling the power to this extension lead, blow, so I've had to replace that. So at the moment I've got So I really need to sort the electrics out in order to get this working. I'm not an electrician. I don't know a lot about electrics. I need to know why running a 2.75 kilowatt element through an electrical supply and with a 13 amp fuse is blowing the 13 amp fuse. It didn't blow the electrics. It didn't cause the trip switch to go. I've got a fuse switch over here which didn't blow, but it blew the 13 amp fuse in the actual extension lead, which is funny because it's actually got a surge protection switch here as well, so it should have tripped that switch if anything. So if anybody knows anything about electrics, is able to tell me what the fuck is going on so I can actually get this up and running efficiently without having to keep on swapping out 13 amp fuses that keep on tripping, please let me know, because I don't really know, but I'll have to do some exploring on Google to try and find out how I can get around it, because I can't have that happen on brew day. I also can't have it so that when I switch the element on to heat up my HLT, maybe at 6 o'clock in the morning, so I can do a brew day at 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't want it to be tripping the electrics, so I need to try and find out. Okay, so first run through the brew kettles. Elements working okay, the elements are fine. Pumps are working fine, everything's working as expected. The electrics need to be sorted, so I need to come up with a solution as to what, we'll try and figure out why the electrics are tripping, and try and solve that as a problem. So I'm probably going to be Google, friends that I've got that are Leckies, and hopefully one of you might know. Second thing I need to sort out is I need to get a solution for the pumps. I need to have them so that they are in a place that's accessible from all of the tubing that I've got. So all of the silicon tubing should be able to reach the pumps from anywhere, from the mash tun through to the boil kettles. Currently I had to move one of the pumps up onto the bench, which is not a good place to put it, and it was very loose and wobbly, so it needs to be on some sort of like stand or on a piece of wood that can sit somewhere that's stable, without some massive extension lead that's coming away from it. So that's another thing I don't like about the electrics. In order to do this today, I've got extension leads all over the place. When I was clearing up and I started unhooking all of the silicon tubes, water started spraying everywhere, and one of the electric extension leads got soaking wet. Bit risky. I don't want to really go tripping the electrics again, because I've ended up blowing up an extension lead, so I need to solve that problem as well. So quite a few things I need to sort out before my brew day at the weekend. Kind of makes me think that the brew day is at risk at the weekend, especially if I don't get the electrics sorted. So that's a really number one priority. So need to fix that. So stay tuned. Okay, this is like a nice little update of the brewery taking shape, and it really is taking shape. But we're not through the woods yet. We still need to get a few things sorted before we can do a brew day at the weekend. But watch your space, because things might happen. Cheers, guys. Take care.